Alrighty traders, this is John Howell here. So today I want to walk you through a few markets that I'm focusing on myself that I think has got some really good upside potential in these particular markets that I'm focusing on, and a bit of an update across the actual stock market itself as well too. And the big thing about the actual stock market is we're probably starting to get towards the end of this move. When it comes to the S&P 500 and what's going on right now. You can see we've actually had a really nice move, but one thing I was sort of looking at here myself is if I zoom right in here on this chart, you will notice that there's a bit of a gap here. If you had, and I'll bring this chart up, this one right here, okay? So you can see on this move here, we've had a gap here. We've also had a gap here. We've also had a gap here, and there's also a little gap here, and we're starting to reverse here pretty quickly. So that tells me that this is probably that last little exhaustion gap coming through there. A nice little push to the upside, and then a nice little slow pullback. So again, the thing for me is what you want to do is you want to see what's coming. Okay, and so what's coming here is we do know there's going to be some sort of a resting period. We do know that, right? This thing's just gone up too fast, too quickly. And we know there's going to be some sort of resting period, pullback, a roundabout, and possibly even a sideways period through here, right? So all through here is probably what we're going to see when it comes down to what's going to happen here on the S&P. So I don't expect this thing to have a big crash or a big drop, but I do see that they're probably likely to get a drop. But then on the flip side of that, the drop that I'd see that's coming is probably going to do something like that. And then what I see is I've actually got a 7,500 target by the end of this year. So within that, while I see this pullback here is likely to happen, when this happens here, my job is just to step aside and not get involved with it. My job, and should I say the way that I like to trade is I will go from here, I'll go down to here, and then I will wait for some good opportunities through here. So right now is a very risky sort of part to get involved with in the way that I like to trade. I like to wait for the pullback first, because we know whenever we do get the pullbacks, that's when we can start to see some really nice movement to the upside. So that's what I'm seeing there on the S&P 500. Same sort of thing on the Dow Jones as well too, just a nice little move up. What we want to start to see is, as you can see, the moving average is actually starting to come up as well too. So we're getting this moving average coming up through there. And as you can see that whenever we start to get the moving average trending up and we get the nice little bounces, bounce, 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 it's a nice little powerful pattern. So if we can get a nice little bounce and then a breakthrough, this breakthrough is probably going to be very, very, very powerful in the market. So if you are looking to get into the markets, then you would actually want to see a little bit of a pullback, because what you don't want to see this thing break up and keep going, because now we're starting to get way too extended within the markets from there. So that's the Dow Jones from there as well too. We also can see here, same for the NASDAQ as well too. Same sort of situation from there. Now the Russell is actually a lot different. Russell is actually definitely picking up from here. But the one thing I'm noticing with the Russell overall, if I bring up, say, this chart here, right? So this chart here, if you bring up this chart here, this is the monthly charts. But this chart here is indeed, if you go look at the scaling on this chart, see how it's a logarithmic, where a lot of my other charts are arithmetic. This is logarithmic. So on this log chart, you can see what's going on here. So you can see we've actually had a lot of support through here. Now we're actually starting to develop maybe some sort of other channel that's going on through here as well too. So you can see this blue line that's the blue line through there. And then the purple line is also one where it actually bounced here recently. And if I take that off the screen, you can see we're actually sort of squeezing up here. So there could be a beautiful breakout here coming real soon. And the thing is, I've always seen the Russell actually breaking out. I was talking about it last year, where I was talking about King Russell last year, and it didn't actually happen. All right, it didn't actually happen. But one thing I'm looking for right now is I'm waiting for that opportunity, because if it does start to eventuate over the next few months, there could be a breakout, and if that breakout goes in line with what I'm looking for, there could be a really powerful trading opportunity coming from there. So that's definitely one thing that I personally am keeping an eye on from there. The other few markets here that that I'm really liking as well too is if I bring this down to, again here, is the Ethereum market, right? So this is the Ethereum market here, and I see Ethereum. I've talked about this a few days ago, but this is the Ethereum on the daily charts, and we bring on the 52, right? Actually, you know what? Forget that through there, right? Now what we're seeing through here, right? So I see one of the things for me personally is I'm always trying to scale the market to look for these opportunities everywhere, right? Everywhere. I've been out of the crypto market now for a long time. There hasn't been getting any good opportunities for me. But now, and as of recent, I'm starting to get, and now I'm actually back in Ethereum. I've been in Ethereum now for the last probably week or so now. But looking at this Ethereum here is you can actually see that we're getting a nice little sideways movement from here. So we're not out of the we're not out of the woodworks yet, but if we do start to get a nice break above through there, then that could actually start to see a bit of a magnet coming up to at least that 4,000 level from there. So we actually had a bit of a, if you look at the price action from here, and this is one thing that's actually made me want to put on a position within Ethereum, which can be a losing trade, by the way, guys. So the support through there. As you can see, we had a big flush down, but we came straight back up, and now we're finding support and picking back up. So this tells me this is actually a false flush down, followed by a reversal. And if we do continue up from here, then that could be then followed by a very strong slingshot move out of the markets from there. So that's definitely one market from there. And also the uranium chart. Looking at this uranium chart from this weekly chart. In fact, let me actually bring it up. I'll bring it up on here, right here. So the other market that I've been watching for right now is if I bring this up from here to here. The other market I've been watching for is uranium. And as you can see, this is my top left chart up here, squeezed right up. That is my weekly charts. And as you can see with my weekly charts, that we've actually had a lot of support level all through here, right? And also a level through there as well too. I always like to look at the big picture as well too. The reason why is because, as you can see, we've actually been breaking up out of this level. So if we start to come down and start to do that and then break back up, this could be a break, a test, and then possibly start to see some really big moves to come. So for me, over the next, say, month or so, there could be something really exciting to come out of that sector from there. And the last thing that I'm still watching for right now, for a bit more of a shorter term trading opportunity, is the SLV. SLV is still trending up nicely through here. Look at this here. We're just going sideways through here, right? Look at all that sideways movement from there. So there could be something really exciting for me personally anyway. I still need to wait for my entry signal for me to get involved with this one here. So I'm not in it yet, but I'm looking for a nice, good sort of entry signal out of this level here. And if we do, then we could actually start to see a really nice rise out of that from there as well too. So they're the few markets that I've sort of been focusing on. I've got some individual stocks that I'm focusing on as well too, but these main markets like silver, uranium, Ethereum, like these pockets of opportunities that are starting to present themselves from there is what I'm looking for from there. And the reason why, guys, is because I'm just utilizing my trading system. That first link in the description there, guys, is actually a link to the free training. And on that free training, I teach you my trading system. And because the system I utilize works across all markets. So whether it's uranium or Ethereum or silver or an individual stock, I utilize the same system across all markets from there. So anyway, traders, that's it for me today. Hope this helped you out. Speak to you soon.